What are the professional insights and knowledge that CSR leaders have gathered and can share, bringing together decades of experience? At the Dalberg CSR Leaders Collaborative, held in Goa in April 2018, leaders shared challenges, brainstormed on solutions, and discussed their ongoing projects and views on partnerships. We also spoke to some heads individually about the projects and learning that most excite them.
So I'm Aradhana Lal. I'm heading sustainability initiatives for Lemon Tree Hotels. I do with inclusion and diversity, where we hire people who are disabled. Look at that 95% of what I see. It is so encouraging and inspiring that mainstreaming works and inclusion works. It can be done, and we've been doing it for 11 years. And it is possible to make it a reality. That means in India, we don't have to be the way we are right now. The stigma can be removed.
My name is Anne-Marie Shahpuri. I'm from Converges. When you start a project, it's important to have some sort of exit strategy, because having that vision that your funds can be working in any kind of project forever is not very practical, and it's not going to be sustainable. It has to be that I would look for models where either the communities would take up ownership, or you would have is maybe even social entrepreneurs coming in saying that we can generate some kind of profit out of this and we can take it over from you. So that we have is underprivileged taking on that role of social entrepreneurship and continuing that process forward. So the element of sustainability and having an exit strategy is very critical. Expand the kind of stakeholders that you're working with. It's not just going to be is your particular school or particular anything. Has to be is a much more holistic impact outreach.
My name is Satyajit. I have joined the Tata Trust about 7 months back. The power of volunteerism, when a program is well designed. I used to run a team called Masti Ki Prayogshala, MBA gold medalist and a PhD scholar from IIT Delhi. Right? Both of them had come together with an idea telling that the science learning in schools are not up to the mark. The program was so well designed. They created an entire structure of recruitment of volunteers. For the first time we saw a very stringent interview process before you can volunteer. We put up a written test first, and they came together and 5-member units were created, and dozens of such units were created across India. Just so eight visits to the school by this 5-member team, and this just spread like wildfire. I mean that the inspiration of a well-designed program going to scale at without dilution of quality is something that is wonderful.
Mamta Saikya. I am the CEO of Bharti Foundation. We have over 200 schools of ourselves, and we are nearly in 1,000 government schools at any point of time in a year. One day I was visiting Satyabharati school, and I asked a child, he was in class 3, so a child who is just 8 years old or 9 years old. I asked him, I said, school में क्या अच्छा लगता है? He just turned around and he said, इस school में सब सच बोलते हैं. And it took my breath away, And I asked him, I said, what do you mean by that? He said, हमें टीचर्स ने बोला हमारे लिए यूनिफॉर्म्स आएंगी, और 3-4 दिन में यूनिफॉर्म्स आ गई. हमें टीचर ने बोला कल आपको हम न्यू पेंसिल्स देंगे, हमें कल न्यू. And that told me that how much a child is influenced by people around them, processes around them, transactions around them. For me per se, that day I realized that how I talk, what I say, how I come across is very critical, because if children are noticing us, then teachers are noticing us leaders. We have to inspire teachers to live the values every single day.
I'm Ravi Bhatnagar. I'm Director External Affairs and Strategic Partnerships for Asia, Middle East and South Africa with Reckitt Benckiser. Most wow moment for us was like, so there were a lot of companies who were actually approaching Government of Maharashtra to work with them. So we were the only ones who said, okay, we will take the challenge of working together with you in 50 cities across Maharashtra. And we chose bottom of the pyramid districts on the Swachh Bharat indicators. We took all of them, and the proud moment is the teams which were there at the field and the leadership which RB has. Together, the synergy was so strong, like in flat 8 months, we were able to make Maharashtra urban open defecation free. For that, we were awarded by the President of India on 1st of October 2017. And we look forward to do more great work with the government, with the partners, for the communities on ground. And this is just a beginning for us. And we feel like once we are ready with our health impact bonds and social impact bonds for India, that will be a very big change what India will be seeing.
My name is Supriya. I work for Tata Communications. I think we often forget that we need to talk about what we are doing and talk about it in a manner that's understood by different stakeholders. It's not about, blowing your own trumpet or talking about your work, but really, creating stories around what you're doing and reaching out to people who, it all comes back for me to people, connections, relationships. That doesn't mean, I'm not interested in data or I'm not interested in the hard the practical stuff of the work. But I think these softer issues sometimes get neglected.
This is Abhishek Ranjan. I am from Brilio Technologies. Very, very important thing which I want to talk about now is the communication, right? Many times we feel that communications, PR and all, but I believe the communication is a great tool for motivating people, be external or internal. And communications, strategies is a very, very integral part of us for my strategy. That's something that you have to walk the walk and talk the talk.
Reshma Anand, I head Hindustan Unilever Foundation. The human capacity exists to actually find solutions to problems. I think the moment you stop looking at yourself as a donor or a benefactor and you stop looking at communities as beneficiaries, you will realize that all you're doing is actually enabling them to find a route or an access to a solution. They do have it in them. You're just the means to it.
Axis Bank Foundation. While we were set up in 2006, initially after a phase of 4 or 5 years in education, we switched tracks to livelihood as a theme. And because in the Indian context, India is majorly rural, we decided to get into rural livelihoods. So currently our focus is entirely in the area of rural livelihood. Why not education and health, and why rural livelihood? It's our thought that unless the livelihood needs are met properly, all the social objectives of health, education, nutrition, hygiene remains unfulfilled. So in earlier work that we did, we started livelihood in 2010-11. So some of those communities, we are seeing that with the surplus income that some of them are able to get now, they are spending it fruitfully in these areas. Final objective is a social enhancement of the communities. Let us get
my name is Nusrat Pathan. I head the CSR at HDFC Bank. We thought that everybody talks about how government schools are dysfunctional and teachers are dispassionate and really don't want to teach, low attendance, etc., etc. The thought was that can we look at what is going right? A lot of people who've actually studied in these rural schools and have made it in top positions in the society. So what is it that was different for them? What is it that worked for them? And that was a thought with which we came out with this entire program, where we said, let us go back to teachers and find out what is it that the teachers are doing that is right, which are the teachers that are working, which are the teachers that are innovating without any support from anybody. Because these are the ideas that are actually scalable, because they require zero investment. So when we're talking about zero investment, we're not talking about zero investment in terms of thought or passion or emotion or idea, but we're talking about zero investment in terms of finance. So because that's what's going to be scalable, considering the number of schools that you have, the number of teachers you have in India, it's not possible for us to reach out. So if you actually have to reach out to schools, we have to have a solution which emerges from them, which is easily scalable, replicable, and which they see as a very practical solution for themselves. So that's how we started in UP. We are working in 10 states. Where we reach out to these teachers, talk to them about ZIEI, get their endorsement in, get their ideas in, compile these ideas, we recognize the teachers, and this is done through the government. And these ideas have then been mapped to the state's curriculum. See how these schools are actually, can use these ideas. How do you use a snake and ladder or a Ludo game to teach maths, or, how do you teach circles? and extremely simple, innovative solutions to problems, and which children very passionately remember and are driven by. So that's really a program which we are very extremely passionate about, and that's a program that we are now looking at taking to another 10 states this year. So that's a real large scale program that we are very happy about.